we just can't even tell you how much it means. You help us live our mission and our vision. We are very proud to host the Corey Jones Memorial Press Conference this year, and we are proud of the efforts by so many people to find a way to keep Corey's beautiful spirit alive in our community. Arts Garage held the first memorial concert for Corey several years ago, and we are committed to supporting his legacy. We are also very committed to equity, diversity, and inclusion in our own organization and in the world. And you can see it in our programming, on our walls with the Right Side of History, an exhibit by Black American artists in 2020, and in the leadership of our organization. We will continue to serve as allies to the BIPOC community with the hope of bringing our community together with events like this one and many more so that we can blur the lines that divide us. Again, I thank you for coming. Although unable to be here today, our next speaker has sent us a video message. Please allow me to introduce civil rights attorney Ben Crump.
I'm Attorney Ben Crump, and I am elated to join the family of Corey Jones in thanking the leadership of the city of Delray and Jeff for this proclamation that acknowledges October the 18th as Corey Jones Day. Because Corey Jones' life matters. Black lives matter. And as we continue to focus in America on social justice, whether it be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where George Floyd was killed, or whether it's in Louisville, Kentucky, where Breonna Taylor was killed, or whether it is Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick, Georgia, who was lynched for jogging while black. We have to continue to exalt our young people and say that their life matters and make sure their legacy is one that speaks truth to power, that tries to prevent our young people being killed unjustifiably, unnecessarily, and senselessly by the people who are supposed to protect and serve them. And so I'm so proud to acknowledge the leadership with the city of Delray for making this a hallmark event to remind us all that Corey Jones has so much promise. He has so much possibility to give the world, just as all the other hashtags that we now have come to know as Black Lives Matter victims. And so I say to you, thank you, thank you, thank you. As Dr. King said, the coward asked the question, is it safe? Expediency asked the question, is it politically correct? And vanity comes along and asks the question, is it popular? But conscience comes along and asks the question, is it right? And Dr. King concluded there comes a time when a person must take a position that's neither popular nor politically correct or not even safe. But one must take a position because their conscience tells them it is the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do to stand up for our children. It is the right thing to do to speak up for our children. It is the right thing to do to fight for our children's future. Because if we don't take a stand for our children's future, we can't expect anybody else to take a stand. So thank you. I feel terrible I can't be with you today because I have prior court obligations, but not for being held in contempt of court. I will be there to acknowledge the great moment that you have given to Corey Jones' family. God bless you, and God smile upon you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shelley Petrolia, mayor of the great town of Delray Beach, Florida. Before I begin, I want to recognize a few of the dignitaries that are here with us today. I want to start by announcing that Delray's Vice Mayor, Ryan Boylston, is here. Thank you for coming. Also, that Delray Commissioner Julie Cassell is here. And also Commissioner Adam Frankel is here. We have the mayor of Boynton Beach with us, Mr. Stephen Grant. Thank you very much for coming. And we also have a former commissioner and CRA board member, Angie Gray. Thank you for being here. And I'm not sure, there's a lot of masks, so if anybody is, oh, I'm sorry, very good. We also have a former a former commissioner that is here, that is with us, and we're so proud to have you here. Thank you so much. We're proud to have you. So I just wanted to acknowledge, the Community Redevelopment Agency for their role in this initiative, and I wanted to thank Mr. Jeff Mustard for his tireless work and effort to bring this day forward and together. And by the way, in record time. We are so lucky to have Jeff as a resident here. I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a few minutes. I also wanted to thank the Arts Garage for allowing us to be in this space today, and the staff who played a role in what is happening before us today. But most importantly, I want to thank the Jones and Banks families for giving us this opportunity to draw attention to something that must be so difficult for you, something that needed to be under the spotlight for many, many years. Your son, your family member, is also a family member of this city. And he paid the ultimate price, the ultimate sacrifice, if only because of the fact that he is black. And while it may have been a horrific sight to watch on those horrible footages that fled into the stream of televisions across the nation, watching George Floyd take his last breaths, it woke up this country's collective consciousness to the country, to bringing in an understanding that we have a long way to go. Corey was part of a much too long chain of names whose lives were also cut short for no reason other than the commonality of the colors of their skin. We've seen enough to know that it is beyond the time for change, and Delray's leadership stands with working and making sure that this happens. We see and understand the racial inequities around us and are working to change them. Corey Isle is an affordable home community under construction right now, and it was named for Corey Jones. And there will be other places not unlike Corey Isle. Affordable rentals and more homes in places where people can feel safe to live. And we're also working on workspaces that are affordable for people to do business or even start up businesses. Only 2 nights ago, I was right here with the police chiefs of both Delray and Boynton discussing police practices in our town. These are just a few of the ongoing things and events that we are doing that were sparked by Corey and others. Today we are marking the day of October 18th, Corey Jones Memorial Day, in Delray Beach, honoring the 5th anniversary of Corey's untimely death. This year and every year after, Corey Jones Day will remind us that change must take place, and it begins right here with us. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce the 3-man video.
Hi, I'm Jeff Mustard, writer, lyricist, producer. I wrote this George Floyd life tribute song. As a person, a member of humanity, I was enraged by watching George Floyd murder. As a white person, I was infuriated, and as a creative person, I was exasperated. But then I was motivated to express what I saw, what we all saw, not just Mr. Floyd, but our society in the days and the weeks that have followed.
Hi, I'm Ethan, also known as the Vulture, and I'm a rapper. Lyrics and music are the only way to accurately, powerfully communicate and capture the George Floyd murder and the groundswelling of emotions surrounding the needless killing of black men, not just in recent years, but overarchingly that Black Lives Matter, a glaring realization not only in contemporary America, but historically.
Hi, I'm Rob Roa, engineer, mixer, and music producer. I've known and worked with Jeff Mustard on previous projects. When he came to me and showed me these lyrics, I knew he had to produce this song. The message of social injustice was powerful. We knew we needed to produce this piece quickly. I immediately had a rapper in mind for the project. I've worked with this musician locally here in Florida. Incredibly, as it turns out, Ethan is the cousin of Corey Jones. Ethan and Corey were in a band together. Corey was a drummer.
My cousin Corey was killed by a plainclothes police officer on October 18, 2015, while waiting by his disabled car for a tow truck in Palm Beach, Florida. The story of black men killed by police officers for no reason and do not suffer consequences must end. Hopefully, now's the time.
George Floyd's death has brought this country to an inflection point of civil unrest the nation has not seen since the days of the civil rights protests and the Vietnam unrest.
George Floyd's cruel death, as seen in the soulless eyes of Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin as he stared cold-hearted and unflinching into the cell phone cameras, taping his complete and total indifference to the heartbreaking pleas of the man under his knee crying out in pain, "I can't breathe." Chauvin did not care, and he will soon learn everyone else did.
This tape has changed everyone's mind, or at least opened eyes, to blatant racism, discrimination, and police intimidation. A revolution is now underway in this country and around the world.
As George Floyd's 6-year-old daughter, Gianna, said, "My daddy changed the world." Yes, he did, Gianna.
We dedicate this song to George Floyd, his life, his memory, his legacy, his family, to humanity, and to history. Yes, George, you've changed the world. We honor you in this tribute and hope to continue your lasting memory to make the world a better place for all.
Hello, my name is Clinton Jones Sr. I'd like to say it doesn't get any easier for me. I had a speech to read, but I'm really not feeling it. But I do like to thank God that He has allowed us to be here today, and to thank God for all of those that had a part in making this a reality. Thank God for the city of Delray Beach and the commissioners and the mayors and Mr. Mustard. And that's what my son was all about. He was all about giving every opportunity that he had to help someone. He would go out his way to do that. And because we are here today, it's because of the kindness and the tender heart of my son, Corey. I miss him a lot. This is very painful for me today, because Friday was a day for us to, even though I was paying him to work, but it really wasn't work. And it was kind of like a day for me and him to bond. And he would ask me questions about his job. He was an inspector for CRA, and a lot of things that he needed to know, he would ask me, and if I had the answer, I would tell him. And today, I miss that boy. Corey was a good and kind kid. and for the city of Delray to honor him in this way is it's a blessing to the family. And I'd like to thank everyone that played a part in bringing this to a reality. And because of what the city of Delray is doing on behalf of our family, I would like to say to the city of Delray, because of what you are doing, it's going to bring about a lot of change in the city of Delray. It's going to help a lot of people. And I thank God for the mayor of Boynton Beach. I met him when they dedicated a project, Corey Isles. They named it after my son, and that was a great blessing. And I'm just happy today and just glad to be here. If it had to be all, if I can change it, I would rather have Corey. But we don't have him, so we're going to do everything in our power to bring about a change. We're going to do everything in our power to continue to preach love and forgiveness. You say, have you forgave the person that killed your son? I would say to you that it's a work in progress. Pray for me. And at this time, I'd like to thank everyone that has showed so much love to our family. God bless you.
How y'all doing out there? Before I get started with my piece, I just want to thank everyone from the city who came and to be a part of this project. I want to most definitely thank Marjorie Waldo of the Arts Garage for generously letting us use the space to do this event. I want to thank Jeff Mustard and DJ Photo, Rob Roa, for bringing me in on this project. And I'll let y'all hear the song. Yep. Why does it have to be this way? Day after day, year after year. For centuries we have paved the way. We slaved the way, we saved the day. We slaved the way, we saved the day. From England you left me in tyranny. Wanted to be free from British sovereignty. Cross the seas opportunity, but you never thought to include me. We built this country without a choice, without a voice. Chains and racks on broken backs. Chains and racks on broken backs. Beaten by the brow, stoned in the bow. Barely alive, lucky to survive. We finally arrived. We finally arrived. Cotton and crop, brothers to this land. Your property agreed in his farm hands. Why does it have to be this way? Day after day, year after year. For centuries we have paved the way. We slaved the way, we saved the day. We slaved the way, we saved the day. For the plans to keep us bound, tend to your ground, spending the waste, never a taste. The pocket we create for your colony states, no freedom in sight unless we fight. We never understood our horrible plight, a promise made, land of our own, freedom to roam, even the home. It never goes this way, despite what you say. Reform legislation, your BS proclamation, it's just procrastination. You inspire resignation. It's just procrastination. You inspire resignation. That story you told 4 centuries old. Now the truth you hear brings untold fear. The face the past is
It's hard to do now the time has come. You know what I do to face the past? It's hard to see so many years. Dishonesty living under your knees, swinging from a tree. No more systemic poverty. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. Y'all can bob to it if you want to. But you never thought to include me. Without a choice, without a voice. Chains and racks on broken backs. Chains and racks on broken backs. Why does it have to be this way? Day after day, year after year. For centuries we have paved the way. We slaved the way. We saved the day. We slaved the way. We saved the day. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. Thank you. Hey George, my brother, you're just another black man killed. It's society's ills. More of your promises never fulfilled. It's society's ills. 3 men on his back, a needless attack. They said it's restraint. We know it is hate. Because of the tape for the cops, no escape. Because of the tape for the cops, no escape. The world now sees the inequities. George died in pain, but he didn't die in vain. The civil unrest, property destruction, it's just a modern day reconstruction. It took 846 to end his life. His pleas unyielding from the jaded blue shielded, but now reform we can see. We need something better for the black community. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, the protest being beat. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat. Your gas, your mask, pepper spray, rubber bullets, it's an illusion of power. Country changing by the hour. The time for oppression, suppression, regression. It's time to be free, time for equality. Black lives matter. Never forget your actions. You gon' suddenly regret. A new stage is set. Hold all your bets. Racism, a systemic threat. Chokeholds no more. Beaten and battered. No one thought that it mattered. It's time your prejudice finally shattered. No one thought that it mattered. I'm complying to stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. I'm complying to stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. I'm complying, stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. I'm complying, stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. Bad cops all around, and never a sound. Where black men are found, dead on the ground. Like Colin, take a stand, better yet, take a lead. Stay with me, say with me, pray with me. Unity, we are horrified, petrified, terrified, vilified. We need to breathe, our race of a breed. Whether black or brown, our pain is profound. When black men are found, dead on the ground. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. I can't breathe, eat up or breathe. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. I can't breathe, we need a reprieve. Black lives matter, enough blood splatter. We have it on tape, no more hate. Black lives matter, enough blood splatter. We have it on tape, no more hate. The time has come for the world to see. Black people at last deserve a reprieve. Equal rights for all, the law of the land. No more abuse by the white hand. Together white and black, we take the country back. It's time for you and me to live equally. Together white and black, we take the country back. It's time for you and me to live equally. The time has come for racism racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat. Thank you. Got a little hot up there.
You're working hard.
Had to do that. Sorry. Give it up for my cuz. Give it up for cuz for that one. That was pretty good. Let me take this mic out. Let me hold this mic. All right. How y'all doing out there today? If you don't know me, I'm CJ Jones, Corey's older brother. Very hard day today, like my dad said. It's kind of mixed emotions, like more like a sweet and sour patch, you know. We miss him a lot, like really a lot. I know the community misses him a lot. My family, you know, it's a hard day. And I just like to thank everybody who's involved with this project, you know. The city of Boynton, city of Delray, the whole community, you know, they came together for this, for Corey. And it's just wonderful, a wonderful feeling to have, you know, the backing. And I just got word today from Miss Angie that Corey's Owl is now going to be named Corey Jones Owl. So that was definitely something to look forward to. The project is going real good. You know, this just a great day to have. We talked about having this day for Corey unofficially. You know, we always go down to PGA and into the site in Boynton off of Woodbright, and we always do that on the 18th. And now that it's official, it gives us, you know, a sense of being there for real. Like, we're there, but now we know that it's on paper, and it's not just us saying it. So I really appreciate you guys for making this happen for our family. You know, we try to carry ourselves the right way. We did everything the right way. You know, things in the other cities around the world, you know, it got crazy. I mean, we wanted to get crazy, but we just didn't want to shame our community and our state the way a lot of things happen around the world, you know, because 5 years from now, it's still happening. So for us to come out and do what things was happening in Luton and just tearing up the city is not the way to go. So I'm just really thankful for today and for everybody that has played their part in this. And thank you guys for everything.
So yes, I need glasses, and I also need to work on my memory. I owe an apology. I just wanted to reach out and say, Commissioner Randolph, I could not remember your name when I was up here. I had everything focused on what I had in front of me, and I apologize. So yes, former Commissioner Randolph is here with us as well. So thank you very much for being here. George Floyd's horrible death inspired TV writer-producer, music writer-producer, Jeff Mustard to write a George Floyd tribute song. This included 2 movements. It's a 6-minute, 14-second song, Lin-Manuel style hip-hop rap song consisting of the 2 movements. The first is How We Got Here, a 2-minute, 20-second history of 400 years of the African-American enslavement experience from England to the newly forming plantation-driven American colonies. And movement number 2, Arrest, Death, Revolution. It's a 3-minute, 50-second track speaking to George Floyd's murder and the country's reaction and the unmasking of systematic racism, uncomfortable truths, and ends aspirationally. As Jeff has pointed out, the final lyric line of the song goes, quote, "Together, white and black, we will take our country back. It's time for you and me to live equally," end quote. The song needed a rapper. Jeff's music co-producer, Rob Roa, introduced Ethan Dangerwing to the project. We just saw how talented Ethan is. Quote, "Not only was Ethan a perfect fit and a great rapper who loved the lyrics and the poignant social justice message," Jeff had told me, but he also said that Ethan happened to be Corey Jones' cousin. When Jeff was telling me about how all this unfolded, he mentioned the parallels between the deaths of the two men that were painfully similar. It became clear that this connection was cosmically divine. And according to Jeff, it made sense to link the song to Corey's tragic and senseless murder. This warm, loving, kind-hearted musician and drummer, beloved by all who knew him, was also killed needlessly by a police officer, as we all know. Jeff, familiar with South Florida businessman and restaurant owner Rodney Mayo, his prolific social activism introduced Mayo to the song. Jeff played it for Rodney. Jeff told me that when the song was over, Rodney said, "Do you have a music video?" Jeff said no. On the spot, Mayo volunteered to make the video. The project was on a fast track. Corey Jones' passing was coming up on its 5th anniversary. Corey was killed on October 18, 2015. Jeff said to me that he knew the project needed to move quickly. Mr. Mustard felt that this critical date should not come without acknowledgement of his death. With the song done and the music video in progress, Jeff envisioned a fundraising event for a Corey Jones Memorial statue located in the city of Delray Beach. But first, the efforts needed to secure the plot of land in the city. With the full support of the Jones family, Jeff lobbied the city commissioners. In record time, just barely a month, and we find ourselves here today. So as you can see, there is a tremendous energy and interest by the city, potentially not only for a small plot of land, but also for a matching fund for a private-public partnership. I'd like to introduce at this point in time, Mr. Jeff Mustard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. Good day, everyone. You've heard my name mentioned a few times today. My name is Jeff Mustard, and I am a TV writer and producer and a music writer and producer. I'm a resident of Delray Beach and have lived in Pineapple Grove for the past 11 years. My residency in the city and the connections through the arts and music communities put me within 1 degree of separation of Corey, whom, by the way, I unfortunately never met. As has been expressed by others and now myself, George Floyd's death was horrible. Corey Jones's death was tragic and senseless. And now with the wind of their spirit at our back, and I can only believe by divine circumstance, we are here now today to memorialize their lives in ways that will be forever lasting and hopefully impactful to people and society. As you've heard, Mr. Floyd's death was the catalyst for my writing the George Floyd tribute song. It was in the development of the song and the music video production that you'll see next, and the power and the energy of all of these forces that came together in a remarkably fast way. That was the fertilizing seed for this entire enterprise and the whole undertaking that brings us here today. We are grateful to the city for their interest in joining forces to proceed with this next phase of the project, the memorial statue idea. I will now outline the Corey Jones Memorial Statue concept, because you've been hearing about it now since this started. Now we'll talk about it. But first, my initial discussion with the city was clear and thankfully in concept agreed to, which has allowed me to get to this point, meaning we wanted to raise funds for a statue, but if we didn't have a place for it, the effort would be fruitless.
Thankfully for the CRA, and then the mayor, and the city commissioners, who are all in unanimous consent of this idea. Within that element of the discussion in agreement and concept, it allowed us to move the project forward, which brings us to literally this moment in time. I'll also add that the concept of a private-public partnership and a 50-50 matching funds was initially the idea of one of the commissioners, which was then also in concept agreed to. And again, this was proven to be a viable approach at the last city commission meeting, which was a tremendous accomplishment. So we haven't gotten all of the backstory out of the way, essential and as dull and as detailed and as important as it is. It's also the reason why any city TV commission meetings get the ratings equivalency of 10 seconds of national TikTok viewership. Nevertheless, here we are with the Go Forward plan. But first, I would like to share with you a rendering of a mock-up of a Corey Jones Memorial statue. And so that's behind me, and it's important to just really bring this to your attention because this is why we're here. So I'm going to just walk this forward. I don't want anybody to be alarmed at the top image because it looks like it's replacing the Eagle Scout figurine on Northeast 2nd Avenue just down the block. That's not the case. The idea here was to show an exact idea of what a Corey Jones Memorial statue would look like. And the idea was to use the Eagle Scout figurine as a replica or a model for what to do, so that we would then mirror that and put that on the north side of the Old School Square entrance on Northeast 2nd Avenue. So nobody should be alarmed that we're moving the Eagle Scout figurine. That's not happening. The bottom picture here shows where this will go, which will go there. So all of you know, if you make a right-hand turn when you walk out here, just on the other side of the entrance to the garage, you'll see that that guitar, and you'll see the sign, and the proposition is to move the guitar and the sign and those hedges and replicate that over there. And that's the idea. And I think that would be a beautiful place to put the statue. It'll be pretty much the same height and size. And that's the goal. So we hope you like that, and we hope the city likes that. And that's what we're trying to raise money for. Interestingly, another remarkable piece of sort of cosmic kismet is that image was a photograph taken by Ethan Dangerwing, who you just heard sing, who's Corey's cousin, years ago. I don't know how many years ago that was. How many years ago was that, Ethan? He can't remember. It was a long time. It was a lot of years. And so when I saw that image, and it's an iconic image of Corey, as many of you, or probably all of you know here, and many of you out there who might be watching this, that's a very famous image of Corey. And so I decided to have that image turned into a black and white pencil sketch. We turned it into a sort of a memorial pedestal. And that's what we got. And so using the magic of Photoshop, we made that. And that's what we hope it will look like. Driving into some final home points here. The suggested proposal would utilize brick pavers exactly like we have there. I mean, it would be exactly like that, just north with the Corey Memorial image there. There's not much more to say about that. Hopefully you guys like that, and that's what we're shooting for. With this location in place, our goal is to raise $150,000 for the statue, and it's an estimate. It's not a hard budget. And that would include artist or commission fees, material, shipping, and installation. We'll further refine the executional elements of this as we seek and identify a sculptor, which brings me to the next significant point. Using today's conference, I'm now officially announcing, hopefully it's okay for me to officially announce it because we need to move the ball along here. I'm announcing our search for a sculptor or an artist with a national reputation. That's one of the objectives of having this press conference, is to announce our desire, our need, and our search. for a sculptor of national magnitude. The timeline for the sculptor submissions is officially today. So we want to have that for about a 1 month period. I think with the right kind of coverage and exposure that this project warrants, with the help of the media, we can get the word out that we're looking for a national artist to make a submission of interest in working on this project. We're going to allow about 30 days for that. The timetable could be altered subject to exactly how many submissions we get. But once we have the submissions, if it works out well in a 30-day period, I'll be taking that to the city, which they're hearing about now, which may not be that good. So we'll take that to the city and have this short list created. And the artist submissions will be able to be made through the equaljusticestudios.com website, which is basically the enterprise that I created behind this entire project and the effort to do this very thing. So artists will be able to go to equaljusticestudios.com, see the artist sculptor form, fill it out, and then myself and the city will huddle and make some decisions. And hopefully we'll have enough submissions and enough talent to be able to make an announcement of similar magnitude around December 1st. That's the goal. And we're trying to fast track this because we want to have an unveiling of the statue next year. So let me make this other announcement that's hopefully print and TV newsworthy. In terms of donations for the actual statue, mind you, the city has expressed interest. It's not 100% agreed to yet, but I'm allowed to say that the city has expressed interest in potentially participating in this as a 50-50 fundraiser and a matching proposition. So that was a very generous offer made by one of the commissioners, and then it was supported by other commissioners. So we have a little momentum on that note, which is extremely valuable. The donations can be made to the Corey Lamar Jones Foundation, courtesy of Ben Crump Law Office, 122 South Calhoun Street, Tallahassee, Florida 32301. Attention Adner Marcelin, Marcelin. And I'd be more than happy to share that with various media afterwards so that we have that specific location for donations explicitly clear. Getting ready to wrap up here, folks. Finally, I'd like to suggest and point out that recently the New York Times on October 5th published an article titled Mellon Foundation to spend $250 million to reimagine monuments. The foundation pledged to spend the $250 million over 5 years to help reimagine the country's approach to monuments and memorials in an effort to better reflect the nation's diversity and highlight buried or marginalized stories. So right now, I would like to actually make a direct plea to the Mellon Foundation so that we here in Delray Beach might consider not only using their resources for the Corey Jones statue, but as important for the Equal Justice Studios entity, so that we could work with them not just on the repurposing of various statues, but we'd like to create a series of documentaries of the process. I think it would be fascinating as a documentary enterprise to actually document the repurposing of these statues. That's what I believe, and I hope we can make that a reality. We had this very same idea, or I should say I did, months ago, and then when I saw it in the New York Times, I was shocked, stunned, and pleased. And I'm thankful I'm able to make that kind of announcement here and now and make that plea directly to the Mellon Foundation or anyone who may know them. We are in South Florida. There could be a grandparent related to the Mellon Foundation, or any other relative for that matter. The next aspect of the program here is the grand unveiling and general introduction of the George Floyd music video. You heard Ethan sing the song, but then, as you now know, and you've heard, Rodney Mayo directed it. And Rodney doesn't really care to get much attention. And I said, too bad, I'm going to mention your name at least once. And so that was my one time. He is a a prolific and profound businessman, philanthropist, and a perennial social and civil rights advocate, and he's the president, if you don't already know, of the Subculture Group of companies, and that is Mr. Rodney Mayo. As you heard the mayor during the opening remarks, when I finished the song, I thought Rodney would enjoy hearing it, getting his involvement in matters of this sort. Well, I was right, and in that one instant after hearing the song, he volunteered to turn that piece into the music video. We are getting ready to launch today, and we all hope you enjoy the video. Final programming note, tonight there's going to be an after party, sort of, that Mr. Mayo volunteered at his nightclub Honey here in Delray Beach. I think it's 16 East Atlantic Avenue, immediately east of Swinton Avenue on the south side of the street, and that will be complimentary beer and wine and appetizers. That is an open to the public event. I hope that you all publicize that as much as possible. With that, I want to say thank you to the Jones family for letting me into their lives to have this conversation and to do this work. It's not easy when you're dealing with a subject matter like this. It's very tender. It's very painful, and we hope we did Mr. Jones, Corey Jones, and the Corey Jones family justice in some way by engaging in this effort. And with that, we will go ahead and play the music video.
opportunity, but you never thought to include me. We built this country without a choice, without a voice. Chains and racks on broken backs, chains and racks on broken backs. Beaten by the brow, slowed in the bow, barely alive, lucky to survive. We finally arrived. We finally arrived. Cotton and crop, bronze in this land, your property and greed in his small hands. Why does it have to be this way? Day after day, year after year. For centuries we have paved the way. We slaved the way, we saved the day. We slaved the way, we saved the day. You form your clans to affirm your plans to keep us bound. Tend to your ground, spit in the waste. Never a taste, the proper recreate for your colony states. No freedom in sight unless we fight. You never understood our horrible plight. A promise made, land of our own. Freedom to roam, even our home. It never goes this way. Despite what you say, reform legislation, your BS proclamation, it's just procrastination. You inspire resignation, it's just procrastination. You inspire resignation. Our stories told 4 centuries old. Now the truth you hear brings untold fear. To face the past is hard to do. Now the time has come. You wanna do a painful past. It's hard to see. So many years dishonesty. Living under your knees, swinging from a tree. No more systemic poverty. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice. We had no voice. We had no voice. We had no voice. Tyranny, sovereignty, opportunity, include me. Without a choice, without a voice. On broken backs, on broken backs. Why does it have to be this way? Day after day, year after year. For centuries we have paved the way. We slaved the way, we saved the day. We slaved the way, we saved the day. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice, we had no voice. We had no voice, we had no voice. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice, we had no voice. We had no voice, we had no voice. 400 years we made you rich. We had no choice, we had no voice. We had no voice, we had no voice. Hey George, my brother, you're just another black man killed in society's ills. More of your promises never fulfilled. It's society's ills. 3 men on his back, a needless attack. They said it's restraint, we know it is hate. Because of the tape, for the cops no escape. Because of the tape, for the cops no escape. The world now sees the inequities. George died in pain, but he didn't die in vain. The civil unrest, property destruction, it's just a modern day reconstruction. It took 846 to end his life. His pleas unyielded to the jaded blue shielded. But now, reform we could see. We need something better for the black community. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest B.O.B. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest B.O.B. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest B.O.B. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest B.O.B. Your gas, your mask, pepper spray, rubber bullets. It's an illusion of power. Country changing by the hour. We're tired of oppression, suppression, repression. It's time to be free, time for equality. Black lives matter. Never forget your actions. You gon' finally regret. A new stage is set. Hold all your bets. Racism, a systemic threat. Show codes no more, beaten and battered. No one thought that it mattered. It's time your prejudice finally shatters. No one thought that it mattered. I'm compliant, stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. I'm compliant, stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. I'm compliant, stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. I'm compliant, stop the lying, stop the hate we have to take. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. Bad cops all around, yet never a sound. When black men are found, dead on the ground. Like holla, take a stand, better yet, take a knee. Pray with me, stay with me, say with me. Unity, we are horrified, petrified, terrified, vilified. We need to breathe, our race or a breed. Whether black or brown, our pain is profound. When black men are found, dead on the ground. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. I can't breathe, we need a reprieve. No justice, no peace, stop shielding the police. I can't breathe, we need a reprieve. Black lives matter, enough blood splatter. We have it on tape, no more hate. Black lives matter, enough blood splatter. We have it on tape, no more hate. The time has come for the world to see. Black people at last deserve a reprieve. Equal rights for all, the law of the land. No more abuse by the white hand. Together, white and black, we take the country back. It's time, you and me, to live equally. Together, white and black, we take the country back. It's time for you and me to live equally. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat. The time has come for racism done. We rally in the streets, protest being beat.
What do you think of that? I mean, what do you think of that? Was that it? Let's hear it again. And let's hear that again. I think that was unbelievable. Where's Rodney Mayo? He's over there. Sorry, I said I was going to use his name. Give it up for Rodney and give it up for Kirk. Kirk's cinematographer, editor, all-around good guy, and I couldn't be more pleased. Up next on deck here is Melissa Jones. Melissa Jones, sister. Stuck up behind me. Okay.
Good afternoon. Well, Melissa Jones Elliott now. Pretty much everything has been said. Thank you all for coming out. I don't believe we would be here had we not had that recording. I honestly believe we'll still be fighting for justice. I believe that the Lord had something in mind when he allowed that recording to be played and recorded, and it's surreal. The way I always reflect on how Raja tried to lie his way out. It's quite funny. A liar will always be exposed, and the world saw it. The people, the community saw it, and I am so grateful. We miss him tremendously, and the last memory we actually shared with him was on CJ's birthday, September 20th, and also my mom and my dad. They were basically, celebrating the 20th year anniversary, and we had a good time. I mean, me, Corey, and CJ, we sat by each other. The only person that couldn't come was Savon, because she was in school in Virginia. It wasn't that easy for her to just get up and go. So we had a good time. We laughed, we giggled, made jokes, just seeing. We don't see my dad, showing a lot of affection, so it was quite funny. So Corey kept hitting me on my side. Look at the phone. I was like, oh my God. They're rubbing the cheeks together. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. So we had a great time that day. And then afterwards, I was like, let's take some pictures. You know, get out the phones and take pictures. We took a lot of pictures, not knowing that was going to be our last like family time together. And afterwards, he was like, "Hey, you know what everybody want to do? What y'all want to do?" And we was like, "Okay, well we'll just go down to Dad's house. Let's go down to Dad's house." So we went down there, and this was the time he got to see my Uncle Mark. Hadn't seen him in quite some time, you know, because he was serving time and whatnot. But he was able to get out, and he was able to see his nephew after so many years. And we came up, my Uncle Mark was sitting there. He was like trying to look and see who it was because he didn't know it. So CJ and Corey went up, and they was like, hey. He was looking like, "Oh, nephew." And then, you know, it was so funny. Corey wanted to treat everybody. He had bought Boston Market. He wanted everybody to just have a good time, and, you know, he treated. And that's the way Corey was. He was very kind. He didn't, you know, he was just a kind person, just very kind, jokester. It's crazy. But Raja chose the right person. I know that. And this character tried to be, you know, destroyed in the very beginning, but thank God for that recording. I really do. So yeah, we had a good time that last time together, not knowing a few weeks later that was our last time as a family together. And I really thank God for that time that we did have together to laugh and just to share a good time. So now we're here 5 years later, and so much has been done. We thank you, the commissioners, thank the mayor, Boynton Beach, Derry Beach. We thank y'all so much, the community, all the support from all race, like, that's beautiful. For all to come together is just beautiful, because that's what Corey was. He didn't care what color you were. He didn't care if you had some type of, you know, disability. He didn't care. You know, he saw past that, and he always was like that. And so, again, we thank you tremendously for the support, and God bless you all.
We're going to play a sort of a short documentary film. As many of you here know, the Jones family came up with the phrase "keeping the beat alive," and we used that phrase to make this short documentary film. I, over the past couple of months, interviewed the Jones family, Mr. Jones, Melissa Jones, tried to get CJ, he wasn't around. Kwiku Darfour, who is a family friend, grew up with Corey, played football together, and he became a lawyer. And he was one of the first legal entities involved when all of this started to unfold. So that's all been compiled along with some background footage and other stuff that I put together with an editor, and we're going to play for you this documentary film. Then we're going to have the proclamation presentation by the mayor, and that will be it for the day. So we're ready to go.
You feel like you don't have to be pressed, don't. Just trying to see if I can take that off of you so you can relax a little more. That's the kind of thing you're giving a different feel.
Hello, I am Clinton Jones Sr., Corey Jones, Dad.
So what are your earliest memories of him as a little boy? Is there anything in particular that sticks out for you, as a toddler or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, anything like that can stick out?
Yeah, he got lost in the house. We didn't know where he was. And we looked everywhere for him. And come to find out that he was in the cabinet up under the kitchen sink, just playing with the pots.
to on the bunk bed that they had. My brothers had a bunk bed. He was in the bottom bunk, and there was a shelf in the bottom bunk, and he would have books stacked, and in between those books, he would pull out folders, papers, just to make his symbols and things like that. He'd get his pencils out, pens, it didn't matter, and he would play. He played. But yeah, childhood, he was always weak on something.
I kind of learned about Corey's exceptional drumming early on, but I didn't really know how great of a drummer he was in the circle of the drumming world. I didn't know how much people looked up to him in the music world, not just in Palm Beach, but in the state of Florida, until years later.
A lot of people know Corey through the music.
Right.
There was another side. So every night after Corey would get out of his work in Delray, he would come to the restaurant. He would sprout dehydrated.
No.
Corey made all of the flowers in the things for us. So as far as the food is concerned, he's such a big part of that, and the music. And I'm just loving that both of his worlds are starting to connect together. People get a chance to see the bigger Corey. It wasn't just music, but if it wasn't for Corey, the New Vegan restaurant wouldn't be there. Because him and CJ literally used their two hands to help me build that place 7 years ago. Just me, him, and CJ. That's it. So for me, the Corey's rice, that was his recipe. These were recipes that he came up with, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just excited that we get to merge his beer with his Corey's rice, and people get the chance to sit back and buy what my cousin has done.
If you go through the crowd, you can find any individual that can say, yes, I remember an uncle that was killed by the police. Yes, I remember a friend that was killed by the police. The death of Corey is different from the death of my brother, and that it's bringing people together. And now people can see what's actually happening with the police in the black community.
Thankful to, kind of like go over his life, because I think about all of the times that we did have together, and now they're gone. So the only thing I got is memories. And so I just hold on to them and keep moving.
I got one down. I got one man down.
Roger, you all right?
Yeah, that's drop it out.
On the off ramp, Blake.
On the offer, give me 2 minutes. I've lost contact with him. I don't know where he is.
All right, stay on the phone, buddy.
There's just so many questions in my head, everyone's head, because there was no answers. And nobody could put 2 and 2 together what happened. Police weren't forthcoming with anything. We didn't know where Corey's body was. We didn't know what that happened.
Roger told investigators he identified himself as an officer, but an audio recording of Jones' call with roadside assistance proved he never did.
They told us that it was a police officer. My mom raised us, my dad raised us to respect, authority. So I'm confused about what exactly happened.
For someone to call me and tell me that he had got killed by a police officer, man, it was just tough for us. It was really hard. And I couldn't get home fast enough to see what was going on.
And it made sense after we found out that he was an unarmed. He didn't know that he was a cop. It made sense. We were like, I know that he thought that his life was in danger and that he was probably going to get mugged.
Roger showed no emotion as the guilty verdicts were read. He was on duty in plain clothes and an unmarked van when he killed Jones in October of 2015. Jones was waiting for a tow truck after his SUV broke down.
The truth will prevail over lies. every time.
I can't explain the emotion that I felt with the, it was, he got justice.
The state, the prosecutor did a great job of just highlighting that this guy knew what he was doing and try to cover it up. And that's the story, you know, there's no other way to explain it.
That was justice. Many people can't say that have been in the situation, and that was justice.
Do you feel that we're in a moment of change of some sort that's achievable?
I believe that we will come into that moment. I believe it's going to happen, but it's going to be very painful.
So how do you feel about the idea of a Corey Jones Memorial statue? How does that strike you?
Yeah,
Man, that would be, I really don't have that much words to express, you know, the joy that I have in my heart.
and I believe that it will be great for children to learn who he was, because that's somebody that they put on.
For this on Mr. Mustard on the tape messages that they are wanting to do a public-private partnership with raising money for a statue. They want to place that out in on the old school programs off of in Coconut Grove area, and that will be in a year from now. We're going to try and get money together for you, so that they can dedicate it 1 year from now. There was a request for a proclamation for his Memorial Day, and they wanted to see if we would do a Corey Jones Day on the 18th, declared in the city of Delray Beach.
The world and the country now got to see firsthand at the same time what is happening in this country over and over again. Because if we heard from Breonna Taylor to George Floyd to Corey, why is it happening at so much of an excessive rate to people of color?
I've been trying to figure it out. I'm 63 now. I haven't figured it out yet. And it's sad.
This incident is but a step in the battle. This case is not about racism. It is not about our emotions, your emotions. It is not about anger and not about political pressure. This case is about justice for Corey Jones, our son, our brother, our uncle, who was wrongfully killed by a person who preyed on a citizen that was brought down on the side of the road. Officer Newman should have been the help that serves and protects. On that April morning, Officer Newman Roger failed not only Corey Jones, he has failed the citizens of Palm Beach County.
Thank you. Well, that's pretty much it for today. We have one final piece of business, and that would be Mrs. Mayor presenting a proclamation to the Jones family, and we'll do that in ever-increasing groups of people so that we can. Yeah, I think that would be better for the whole thing. I will actually move this because it's in the way, and because we want everybody to
Well, I'm going to read the proclamation.
Oh, yeah,
for
okay.
everybody, so
Absolutely.
as long as you don't remove that.
No, I won't.
Okay. We are presenting a proclamation today, and by the way, I love that we've got a little image of Corey on the proclamation. That's very unusual. Whereas in recognition that the Jones and Banks family both have deep roots and generations of legacy in Palm Beach County, Florida, and whereas members of the extended Jones and Banks family are socially active participants in South Florida and the Palm Beach County community, living, working, and serving as business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders among their church communities. And whereas Corey Jones was the son of Clinton Jones Sr. and Anita Banks, and the brother of Clinton Jones Jr., Melissa Jones, Savon Jones, and Chandra Jones. And whereas Corey Jones was well-known, well-liked, highly regarded, respected, beloved, caring, selfless, and socially active member of the South Florida and Palm Beach County's community, and whereas Corey Jones, a 31-year-old African-American man, was needlessly shot and tragically murdered in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, by a plainclothes police officer while waiting for a tow truck on the side of a highway. And whereas for the first time in 3 decades, a South Florida jury convicted the police officer of manslaughter and attempted murder in the 2015 killing of Mr. Corey Jones. And whereas the City of Delray Beach, in recognition of the racial, civic, social, and societal injustices that have become known nationally, including acknowledging institutional, systematic racism against people of color. And whereas on this day, October 18, 2020, the City of Delray Beach, Florida wishes to commemorate, memorialize, celebrate, and honor the life of Mr. Corey Jones. Now therefore I, Shelley Petrolia, Mayor of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim that October 18, 2020, on this day and every year forthwith, that it shall be known and recognized as Corey Jones Memorial Day. Now granted in good faith, honor, and respect for Corey Jones, a young man whose life was needlessly cut short, with love and sincerity to the Jones and Banks families, and to the family, friends, and members of the various communities whose lives Corey Jones touched. In witness thereof, I have thereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Delray Beach, Florida, to be affixed on this 16th day of October 2020. Thank you all very much for coming.
That was wonderful, beautiful. So the immediate jump in, why don't you come up? Sure, yeah. We'll do it down here. It'll be a little easier for everybody.
Take some pictures if you guys want to.
Yeah, sure. Just surround there. We'll do it in ever-increasing larger groups. Let's go small and we'll just stay in. Yeah, like a wedding. Or a bar mitzvah. I'm going to hop in on the short group just because. CJ?
So sad we have to wear these masks. Nobody can see us smiling.
Okay, so next sort of tranche of family members, maybe small children in the middle, but not blocking proclamation would be nice. Hey, Rob, why don't you hop in here on the other side? Rob Burrow, my producer of the song with me and with Ethan. Roundabout Studios, Delray Beach, a great place to make music. What about a shot with the other city commissioners and other city members? So maybe just the immediate nucleus of the family, and if everyone else would step out and let the city officials in. Appreciate that. Yeah, Mayor White, so fine. So just do right, just do and good. Okay, commissioners. Are we all in? Everybody? Yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
If the media are happy, maybe we can just do one with the mayor and the commissioners and them holding the proclamation with Mr. Jones. I think that would be fitting. Yeah, the CRA, commissioners, would be great. I'm gonna hop into Wayne too. Maybe we identify, so Angie Gray, CRA, Mayor Petrolia, Mr. Jones, Ryan Wilson, and Commissioner Cassell, just so you guys all know who that is.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, programming note for everyone here, I was just advised that I gave the wrong time for tonight, so the open free complimentary gig at Honey is today, Friday, the 17th, the 16th, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. So, spread the word, invite your friends, let anybody else out there in TV land know that that's where the gig is. And I think that's it. A big round of applause for everyone that came here. And you will be getting updates, and you guys will be getting updates on the sculptors and the artists. And then next year, same place, same time, we will have an unveiling for a statue. Thank you.
But I just want to ask you now that it's all over and you've heard the wonderful, I mean, it was just moving in so many ways. What would you like to say about
Just a testimony to the life that Corey lived, and I really appreciate it.
it's just so moving. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
for you
Thank you.
for this part. I'm sorry for you.
I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Could you tell me again, sir, what this means to you that the city would honor your son by designating October 18th as Corey Jones Memorial Day?
It means a lot, you know, and it's just a testimony to the city of Delray. They are striving to bring about a change, you know, and I just appreciate their reaching out, you know, to my family, you know, and not only will it help my family, but it will help other families, you know, to let people know that the city of Delray is not only just talking, but they're acting on what they're saying. They want to have a harmony, and they want to have a peace, you know, in the city of Delray. They want people to work together, you know, and love one another. That's what it's all about.
If we can do all photos and interviews out in the gallery space, that would be much appreciated. I say that because it is also better lighting.
Huh? Not really? Could we just do a little more of that again, because he talked over part of it, and I just want to make sure I have the... I was wondering, do you mind removing the mask? I think we could probably hear you better, understand you better without it. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. So again, sir, what does it mean to you that the city is honoring your son with this special day?
Well, it means a lot. You know, it just shows that how the city of Delray Beach is reaching out to all race of peoples. And that's a great honor, you know, that they want to have unity in their city, and I want to really thank God, you know, and I appreciate their kindness and their love, you know, towards my son.
And you said you miss him a great deal. Can you talk with us about what this time of the year means for you?
Man, it's I can say my son said it's a sweet and bitter time. It's really tough, you know, because I miss my son.
It's there. Sir, I apologize. Thank you very much. So, I guess if you could just kind of give us your thoughts again on this time of the year and how difficult it is to.
Well, it's really tough, you know, because this was a time where, you know, me and my son get together, especially on Friday. That was like our bonding time. And I wish this wasn't, you know, this occasion, but in the same time, I really appreciate, you know, that people showing, you know, such kindness and love towards my son. And we miss him a lot, man. I tell you, you just don't know how much we missed him, you know, and missing him, you know, playing the drums, missing him, you know, telling jokes and carrying on. So we really miss Corey.
He's in a better place now, and he's looking down on us.
Yes, he is, and I wish it wasn't so soon, you know, but God got a plan for everything. I'm still trying to figure out the plans of God, you know, in all of this. So day by day, I learn a lot more, you know, and through all the friends that, you know, he had, they share things with me about Corey, you know, so I'm excited about that.
Have you forgiven Mr. Raja for what happened?
Like I say, it's a work in progress, you know. I don't wish no ill, you know, things on his family. I wish for his family, to, you know, to be blessed and to prosper, but it's just a hard pill for me to swallow right now. You know, it's a work in progress. You know, little by little, you know, I'm getting better with the situation.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your help. Thank you. Okay, I think we're good. It's 20 minutes to 3, so we probably need to run for the truck.
All of them I have to tell them.
Send image. If you can write that, I'd appreciate it.
Can you give me the address again where people can send their donations?
Absolutely. You want to take a picture?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Got it. Okay.
So you go to a lot of these things. How did we do?
Very good. Very good.
Was it?
I thought it was compelling. I will tell you, we couldn't really see the videos up on the screen.
I know.
So how much of that we're going to be able to use? Probably very little.
Thanks, Ed.
If the room had been darker, we
I
probably
know.
could make it work.
I know.
But so the song that this fellow performed on stage, that was in honor of Corey Jones and George Floyd,
No.
or just George Floyd?
It was just George Floyd. It was after. I didn't want to beat the concept to death. You know what I'm saying? In terms of talking about it, but it was after I wrote the song, and then I met Ethan, which was really I wrote the song a week after George Floyd's death. I was then in the studio with Rob that I mentioned earlier, and then we got Ethan, and that was a week. That was 10 days later.